Well, hello, my paranormal peeps, and welcome back to another Deep Woods Paranormal podcast. My name is Matt Harvey. I am the founder and lead investigator with Deep Woods Paranormal. I am also the host of the Deep Woods Paranormal podcast. So I am rocking a Mr. Machine hat tonight, giving my paranormal hats a night off. Just FYI, we are getting new hats in. New hats, new shirts, all kinds of cool stuff. So if you haven't checked out our store, you can go to our deepwoodsparanormal.com and check that out. Okay, so let's get into this podcast. I know everybody doesn't want to wait around. So, okay. So tonight we're going to be talking about bridges because someone told me bridges connect people, but sometimes they also connect us to the other side, which had me scratching my head and going, "Okay, what?" And so I started thinking about it, and I'm like, "Okay, that kind of makes sense." I've been to a few haunted bridges, the Suicide Bridge in Pasadena, and a few other famous bridges around the world. And then I started thinking about it. I'm like, okay, we've been to a few bridges here in Texas too that are supposed to be very famous, like the Goatman's Bridge here in Texas. There's also what's called the Crybaby Bridge, and that's in multiple states. And we'll go into these in a second here. There's the Seven Gates of Hell. That's in Illinois. Hell's Bridge, and that's in Michigan. And then Clinton Road Bridge, which is in New Jersey. So, what we'll do is we'll get into this and we'll start talking about why bridges attract paranormal stories. They're the sites of accidents and suicides. They're very approximate to water, which usually is tied to paranormal activity. Water is said to give off energy. And then also isolated rural settings that just make them spookier. Bridges are also linear spaces, so places between worlds, if you will. And then there's recurring legends like the Crybaby, the Phantom Hitchhiker. If you drive over the bridge, the hitchhiker gets in with you as you're driving across and then disappears when you get to the other side. There's a lot of folklore or evidence of real paranormal phenomenon with these bridges. So, if you've investigated a bridge that is haunted, like the Texas one here, the Goatman's Bridge, let us know down below. Leave a comment. Tell us what you experienced. Did you actually have any kind of a paranormal experience? Did you just feel something? Did you see something? Did you hear something? There's a lot of haunted bridges all around the world, not just in the United States. And I know we have an audience that is spans the whole world, which is amazing. So we love to hear what you guys have experienced. Um, so also, what gear did you guys bring when you went out to the haunted bridge? What did you experience? Did you bring a spirit box, a thermal, a K2, a drone? What did you bring with you to investigate? I know when we went to Goatman's Bridge, somebody brought trail cams and set them every, I don't know, 5 or 6 feet on both sides of the bridge, and then basically waited to see if, and then was on the other side, waited to see if they would snap off. And I guess a couple of them actually did, and she was too far away from it to actually set it off. So that was pretty cool. Um, so yeah, like I said, if you guys have a haunted bridge story or anything like that, please comment down below or message us. We'd love to hear about it. We'll probably also run a poll down below as well, which is scarier: Goatman's Bridge, Crybaby Bridge, excuse me, or Hell's Bridge. Have you guys investigated any? Have you ever investigated or visited any of these places? All right, so let's get back into these bridges. Okay, so we got the Goatman Bridge, we got the Crybaby Bridge, we got the Seven Gates of Hell. Sounds fun. And then we've got the urban legends of Hell's Bridge in Michigan, and then you got Clinton Road, which has the bridge, and that's in New Jersey. So let's kind of break down these bridges and talk a little bit more about them, and talk about what makes them supposedly haunted. Okay, all right. So let's start with Goatman's Bridge, and I'll kind of read you a little bit of this story. I'm going to kind of change it a little bit because I don't want to essentially get in trouble for copyright or anything. But all right, so Goatman's Bridge. It says that a local chapter of the KKK essentially went out to the Washburn's home. They kidnapped him and they actually hung him and over the side of the Old Alton Bridge. And now he basically haunts this bridge. I've been out here. I know there's a lot of people that practice like witchcraft out here, or they do demonic rituals. It's also known for Bigfoots. One of the people I was talking to, hey Matt, yeah, I just saw a Bigfoot down below the bridge. So I just had to throw Bigfoot in there. But we were there for a good, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes, and not very much happened. We were doing EVP sessions, and it's quiet. It's really quiet out there until the coyotes start going crazy. And then you can hear Bigfoot screams also in the background, which is crazy. So, on top of the bridge, it's not said to be so much haunted. People report footsteps and seeing a shadowy figure. Supposedly, he still haunts the bridge because he's mad about what happened to him. He appears more like a goat than a human. And the reason behind that is he was a goat farmer, and supposedly people didn't like him. Now, if you know more about this story, again, feel free to comment down below. Would love to hear what you have heard about this bridge. Maybe you've investigated this bridge. Did you experience anything? Please comment down below. Let us know, what you experienced. When we went out there, unfortunately, we did not have the ghost box at this point in time. So essentially, we just had spirit box. We did some EVP work. And we basically used some K2s to essentially, EVP is just electronic voice phenomenon, where we record audio and listen back to it to see if there's anything you couldn't hear below, that was below your hearing. There's a theory that ghosts may be on a higher level of our hearing, or above what we can hear, or they're below what we can hear. And so the audio recorders record all of that because humans only have a spectrum of a certain amount of decibels that we can hear from very low to very high. Anyways, I don't want to get into that. It's really technical. So K2 meter, we were using these. We had about 7 or 8 of them. I think we laid some of them out onto the bridge and asked if anything really wanted to communicate with us. And then people were telling us, well, you got to go under the bridge if you want to go talk to the demonic entities. And I'm like, that's not what we want. We're not here to communicate with the demonic entities. But we were there for about 2 hours. I don't know if it's legal for you to be out there. And I know the bridge is not in use anymore. I think you can walk across it, but I don't know if the other side of the bridge is if you're legally allowed to be on the other side. So anyways, we stayed on the one side. We did not trespass. We made sure everything went well, but we didn't really get anything. We didn't really have any activity. And I've heard a mixed bag about this place. It just could have been the night. With the paranormal activity, especially ghosts, you have about a 50-50 chance of actually encountering something. Sometimes when you go out there, there's just no activity. I mean, you can go into the most haunted location ever, and you just don't get any, you don't hear anything, you don't see anything, you don't experience anything, you don't get any audio, any video, anything, nothing happens. No K2 hits, nothing on your speaker box that essentially is legible, or something, maybe it's just dead altogether, pardon the pun. But yeah, this place for us that night was very quiet. There wasn't a lot going on, very little activity, and even when we went down below, there just wasn't anything. The bridge is pretty rickety still, and but we didn't see anything, didn't hear anything, didn't really experience anything. Like I said before, let us know what you've experienced. All right, let's move on to the crybaby bridges, because there's not just one of these, there's multiples. And crybaby Crybaby Bridge refers to numerous bridges across the United States, usually associated with urban legends and ghost stories, and it includes the sounds of a baby crying. Good job, Binks. That was Binks, our cat. He has a weird scream. Um, so they usually involve tragic backstories of accidents or other sorrowful events, and that happen on or around bridges. And it basically relates to babies or young children. Were there with a mother, and the baby threw him off the bridge, and then the mom, basically killed herself after that because she was so sad. And now, essentially, she's out there looking for her baby, um, because she screwed up. Um, so, like I said, there's lots of different bridges like this. I don't think I've ever been to a crybaby bridge, but it's a pretty interesting idea. Let's see. This one talks about the Sleepy Hollow Road near the border between Jefferson and Old Home, in Kentucky. And it says it was known as a crybaby bridge. Hold on, let me get a drink because I can't talk tonight. All right, there. All right. So supposedly mothers would drop their unwanted child who was sick or deformed off the bridge to drown in the water. That's terrible. And then I guess crying can still be heard to this day. It's been reported the bridge has been replaced by a new one, and there's still activity. But this bridge looks like an old rickety bridge. If you're watching the YouTube channel, you can kind of see it. I'll blow it up here. This is what's left of this bridge. Looks like they blocked it off. It looks like it's out in the wilderness. Probably isn't used ever, but it's basically just got a creek under it. This one's in Maryland. Let's see. It says your travel guide to Maryland's local legends and best kept secrets. Blah 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 blah. Okay, so let's see. Crybaby Bridge experiences in Maryland. Locations. Okay, so the Governor's Bridge Road, um, one on Lotsford Vista Road, and an unspecified road in Lotsford Vista Road as well. Wow. So they mention satanic churches, which is terrible. Let's see. I'm just reading through these guys. Bear with me. Here's one in Lukefin, Texas. That's interesting. Jack Creek. It's been known to be a crybaby because a woman and a baby died when their auto veered off a wooden bridge. I've heard of this one and veered into the steep creek. Um, Very interesting. Annette Sawyer of Lukefin said visitors who come to the site at night claim that they've heard the sounds of resembling a baby crying. One visitor supposedly found a imprint of a baby's hand on her auto window from returning. Okay, that's interesting. So here's another one, Port Neches. This is in Texas as well. There's a bridge which a baby of the same name was thrown into the alligator-infested water by a man who murdered the child's mother. Oh my gosh. Um, she can be heard crying from the water when one stands on the bridge on hot summer nights. Oh, okay. So the mom is a headless ghost wandering the woods nearby. Can also be heard whispering Sarah Jane as she searches the forest with a lantern. Wow, I'm getting chills as I sit here and talk about this. All right. Um, so here's Maryland. The Jesse Glass presented a case against several crybaby bridges being genuine folklore, continuing that they were instead folklore and that was known to be propaganda through the internet. Okay, so I mean, you got to take this with a grain of salt. Some of these bridges may not be. I mean, There's a lot of old rumors that basically circulate, and as we know, they get turned into folklore, and then one thing leads to another. Okay, so let's look at the seven gates of hell. So the Seven Gates of Hell is a modern urban legend regarding locations in Pennsylvania, New York County, Pennsylvania. Excuse me. I guess there's two versions of the legend exist. One involving a burned insane asylum, and the other an eccentric doctor. Both agree that there were seven gates in a wooded area of Pennsylvania, and that anyone who passes through all the seven gates goes straight to hell. Wow, this is crazy. Location in question never housed an institution, while the doctor of the legend only constructed one gate to keep out trespassers. The property is privately owned, and visitors may charge with trespassing. Okay, so let's look at the myth here. Okay, so there's two popular visions of the myth with multiple variations. The mental institution that used to be located in Helam Township in Pennsylvania, depending on the source, it was erected in a remote location as to isolate people deemed insane from the rest of the world. It says one day in the 1900s, a fire broke out, and they could not reach the hospital in time to save its due to its remoteness. It says many patients died in flames while others escaped and were soon beaten to death. Jeez. So, according to this version, the gates are put up by the local search party to trap the remaining inmates. So they're treating them like prisoners. So the second version states um, the physician lived on the property and built several gates along the path in the forest. Both accounts agree that the one gate is visible during the day, but the other six can only be seen at night. According to legend, no one has past the fifth gate, but if they pass all seven, they will go directly to hell. Okay. So it sounds like this one has a little bridge that goes over it. Well, let's look at this picture here. So it's gates and gates all the way around this property, and there must be some kind of bridge. Oh yeah, here's the bridge. So the river comes across, and there's a bridge there, and I guess you have to go across the bridge to get to where this place burned down. And it seems like it basically was just, a bunch of people unfortunately burned to death. And if you've ever been in an insane asylum, people are just not in the right minds, and to be basically tortured like that to death and burned to death had to be make it much much worse. They essentially, had already pretty much lost their minds if they were mentally ill, and I mean, their souls must just be completely and utterly just tormented at this point if this really happened. And again, you guys got to take this with a grain of salt. I mean, like I said, have you ever been to the seven gates of hell? Again, comment down below. Let us know what have you heard? What do you know about this place? If you know anything, comment down below. Let us know. And then let's go over here. Okay, so let's go into Michigan's Urban Legends of Hell's Bridge. Bear with me one second. I'm gonna get another drink. All right. So in this picture, you see just a little rickety old bridge. Probably been here for a long, long time. Looks like it's part of a tree is growing up over the part you start to walk on, and it goes across this little creek. Pretty wide little creek. And it says northeast of Rockford is this rickety old metal footbridge. Crosses the Rogue River and has been dubbed as Hell's Bridge. The urban legend says that this is a spot where man killed several children. Don't do that, Binks. Binks, no, no. And you can hear their screams at night and see their faces in the water through the flowing river. So it says they've heard many very different, can't read with him there. They've heard many different variations of a legend, but internet's But as the story goes, the 1800s. Okay, okay, let me on. So I guess they've read very many different variations. Sorry, the cat was in the way of me reading. But as the story goes, in the 1800s, a man by the name of I'm not going to give his name out. You guys can look this up if you want. He lived near the river, and he either kidnapped children or was asked to watch a group of children, and then he took them down to the river um, where the metal bridge crosses it. They say he summoned a demon to murder the innocent children. Oh my God. Um, so it says that he either burned their bodies under under the let's see under leaves near the river or threw them into the river to be carried downstream. So basically, when the townspeople of Rockford began looking for the children, they found bodies covered in blood and hanged him from a bridge over the Rogue River. Okay, so he basically supposedly killed a bunch of kids, and then they found out, and they basically took and hung him over that same river. So basically, if this is true, if it's not just an urban legend, then again, I mean, these kids died way too young. Their lives are taken way too young, and to be murdered is a bad, just one of those things where you're probably going to stick around because you still have unfinished business, and so these kids are probably just looking for, looking for closure. I can imagine they're still haunting this bridge or haunting the area around there. We've been in a lot of places where kids have um, been murdered. If you go back to San Juan Capistrano, where the lady in white basically drowned her kids in the river, um, she's not only seen in San Juan Capistrano off of what is that street? I don't even remember the street now, by the Mission, but she's also seen up in Black Star Canyon looking for her kids and crying and stuff like that. In fact, I was talking to somebody about that the other day. Talking about bridges, there's a few bridges that go over the little creeks up in Black Star Canyon, and she usually hovers over over the over the river at night. You can just see her in a white bubble, and she floats over the river. It's crazy. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. But and I've seen a lot of crazy things. But also, yeah, she is also seen in a white wedding gown, and she's basically very. She is very drawn to kids. She's very protective of kids. So all right, so let's get back into this. Let's see. So this person thinks it's a fictional person, and the story was created to keep the local teenagers out of the forest at night, but they can't tell for sure. All right, so you guys can go back and read this if you want. I think there's a book on this. All right, so let's move on to the last one, Clinton's Road. So Clinton's Road is located in West Milford, Passaic County, New Jersey. Excuse me if I'm mispronouncing these. In the United States, it runs in a generally north to south direction, beginning at Route 23. Blah blah blah. Okay, the road and the land around it have gained notoriety over the years as an area um, rife with many urban legends of paranormal activity and sightings of ghosts, strange creatures, and gatherings of witches, satanics, and the Ku Klux Klan. There's also a rumor that professional killers dispose of their bodies in the surrounding woods, with one recorded case uh, occurring has been regular subject to discussion in the Weird NJ magazine, New Jersey magazine. Okay, so I'm not going to get too much into this, guys, because again, I don't want to get into copyright issues, and also I don't want to get too involved with talking about those negative things, um, because we do have a younger audience that sometimes listens in. Okay, so it says there are a few homes along the road, and much of the adjoining property is developed publicly owned woodlands. The road itself is a narrow two-lane highway that receives little maintenance. Is not part of New Jersey's county route. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, so that's about it. But yeah, so I mean, again, you go back into murders. All of these things seem to have a very um, similar, theme to them. A lot of them seem to be, people murdered or people violently dying. Anytime you have anybody violently dying like this, essentially let me stop sharing this. Okay, so anytime you have people violently dying like this, you're going to end up with people um, essentially haunting a location. It's just going to happen. And, you know, with the Goatman's Bridge, I mean, he was violently, supposedly his family was also killed. They came and killed everybody. Um, they tortured his family first and then killed him. And then the crybaby, I cannot talk tonight. Hold on a second. Sorry about that. And then also the crybaby bridge. I mean, imagine a mom taking her kid and doing that to him, and then essentially, you know, realizing what she'd done and ultimately regretting it, and then because she was so sad, taking her own life. Seven Gates of Hell. I mean, again, we're talking about people being murdered and essentially, bad things happening. A lot of these places are just murdered. You're talking about murder if it's real and stuff like that. So these violent deaths do usually lead to hauntings. I mean, if you look at almost any haunted location, they've had either a violent death, an accidental death, or some kind of, something that leads to someone basically having unfinished business. And so, um, the more we look at these locations, they follow a pattern and stuff like that. So, anyways, guys, if you guys have ever been to the haunted bridges, if you experienced some of that tragic history, any of the folklore or the paranormal activity on Goatman's Bridge, Crybaby's Bridge, Hell's Bridge, Clinton's Road, or any of these other locations, please feel free to comment down below, either on our video YouTube platform or any of the other platforms we're on. Feel free to message us too and let us know if you've actively been investigating those locations. We'd love to have you on as guests as well. And then also, if you enjoyed this podcast, do me a favor, please like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. We try and put out podcasts every Tuesday. This is getting recorded just a little late. It might come out on Wednesday, so we might do Wednesday, Friday this week. I'm going to try and get you guys out into the podcast on Friday. So, all right. If you guys are listening, again, thank you guys so much for listening. We appreciate you. If you'll do us a favor again, like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. It really helps us. We're really growing. We're going to be expanding onto other platforms here shortly and continue to grow. Thank you to all our new YouTube visitors as well. We are in the process of starting to investigate um, Bigfoot again, and that will be coming out, I don't know, a month, 2 months, 3 months. I don't know how long it's going to take us to get all that edited and put together for you guys, but it's going to be amazing. I know everybody's, on here wants to see us investigate Bigfoot and other cryptids. So that's what we're doing. We're going after them, guys. You asked for it. We're going after them. So again, thank you so much for listening and watching, and we will catch you guys on the next one.